Hey, what's up guys? Kellen with Droid Life, and we're finally going to take a decent look at the Nexus 7 tablet, which was handed out at Google I/O. As you know, this is Google's first actual tablet that they've branded with their Nexus brand. It's going to be affordable at $199 and $249. They're definitely not going iPad route here. They're definitely aiming at the lower end Kindle Fire market. They really just want this to be sort of a media consumption device. A lot of Google Play push. But we wanted to finally start walking through the device since we've had it now for all of like 5 or 6 days. We're gonna have a full review in a while, but we just wanted to do kind of an overview to give you like our overall impressions. I mean, we looked at it really quickly while we were at Google I/O, but haven't really got a chance to dive into Jelly Bean and go in depth and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and do that now. Google Nexus 7 tablet. All right, so if you haven't seen the packaging, this is the one that ours came in. So the Google I/O edition is limited edition, has this white back. So the edition that you'll actually get when you get your pre-order, it's gonna have more of a dark, I don't even wanna call it charcoal, but it's definitely a darker back. It's not going to be white. So it should look identical everything else wise, just it's not gonna be dark. But it should still have this like sort of, it's almost like a leathery, I'm sure it's rubber of some sort, but it almost feels kind of leathery in hand, this back finish. It's really nice actually to hold. It just feels soft in hand. So anyway, let me put this down for a second. Here's the packaging, and I'm assuming this is official retail packaging. So you can see the giant 7, it's the Nexus 7, there's Nexus 7 logo. Asus making it, Tegra 3 chip in there from NVIDIA. On the back, you can see they're not going specs here, we're talking made for Google Play. And that's the big push here. They really want people to start buying content, material, apps, movies, TV shows, magazines, books, all that stuff, music right from Google Play, use it on this device, okay? So it says full-fledged Android tablet, which is sort of an odd thing, but it does, say it's got a quad-core processor, front-facing camera, and so that's where you get into the specs a little bit, but again, the first thing on here is the Google Play stuff. And then pure Google, so since it's a Nexus 7, it runs the latest version of Android. So it's kind of like Google's realized that this whole thing about not updating phones is a pain and people are sort of annoyed by it. So when you see it branded with pure Google and it runs the latest version of Android, you sort of get the feeling that Google's really gonna start pushing that now. And now that they've done this PDK thing where they're gonna let not developers, but OEMs and stuff have access to the current version of Android before it ever goes public, you sort of get the feeling that they're ready for these people to start updating stuff since they couldn't figure it out by themselves. So anyway, Nexus 7, here's a little tour of the outside again. So we got a big old speaker down here. Again, Asus makes it. Nexus logo. It doesn't actually say Google or Google Play anywhere on this thing. It just says Nexus. So that could be something to look for down the road as we get more Nexus devices. We might get the manufacturer and then it might just say Nexus. On the the right side here is your volume rocker, and then there is the power lock switch. The left side, there's actually nothing. Oh, that might be a noise cancellation mic. Up top is another mic, and then on the bottom is your micro USB. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Micro USB. And apparently this is not MHL. I will try to confirm that, but from what we've heard, this is not actually MHL, so you can't go HDMI out with this. They want you to use like that new Nexus Q that they released and do things wirelessly. So, and then there's your headphone jack on the bottom, which we love. So yeah, that's the back. Front is again the 7.0 inch. I believe it's just an LCD. It's 1280 by 800 resolution. It's not going to be your Retina display or anything like that, but it still looks gorgeous. The pixel count's like 216 pixels per inch, which is pretty high, especially for a tablet. So yeah, let's dive into the software a little bit. So software-wise, right, it's Jelly Bean. It's Android 4.1. And you guys have seen, some of this. We've showed you a little bit, but we want to walk through more of it on the tablet because they've done a little bit of different things to this than they have on the phone. And we'll do a whole walkthrough of the phone UI as well. But when you first boot this up, if I were logged into my Google account, which I'm not because I just unlocked the bootloader and that wiped everything, this is a giant Google Play widget. I know it's sort of hard to tell, but see, it's a full screen Google Play widget. And what it is all of your content basically, so that you have on Google Play. So it would show you shortcuts to like your books and movies and music and let you just play right those. They also have some that recommend apps or music or movies. So again, the big focus here is they're trying to get you to consume content through Google Play. The other thing I want to show you is this is a tablet, right? But this isn't necessarily Android's tablet UI. So we're starting to think that 7-inch devices may have this UI, and full tablet, 10-inch tablets or beyond, or 8.9 or whatever, they may have that other tablet UI, with the app tray button up top. As you can see, this just looks like a phone. It just looks like the giant smartphone version, except they've created a bigger grid. So I don't know if you can tell, but I can basically go like 7 by 7, I believe here. And before, you know, it's like 4 by 4, 5 by 5. So they've given you more room to put icons and widgets and things like that. So they've changed that a little bit. Also down at the bottom, you can see you've got 6 icons that are customizable, or 6 spots that are customizable, I should say, along with your app drawer button. You know, folders, they work just the same as they do an ice cream sandwich. Let's jump into the app drawer real quick and just show you this. App drawer, again, it looks just like ice cream sandwich. And there's your widgets. You know, you can flip between them however you'd like. One of the UI tweaks that I believe is sort of new is, you know, if you've got a widget up here, you can really see this defined box now. For some reason, I remembered an ice cream sandwich being like this one icon, then just a black space, and it was sort of hard to see. Now it seems more bookish or something. So anyway, they haven't really changed a lot of the widgets, I don't believe, but they did add a new one called, let's see if we can find it. Oh, it's this What's This Song one, which we posted earlier for you guys. And basically, if you have music playing, you can tap on this and it'll listen to it, and then it'll recommend whatever song it is and give you a link directly to the Play Store if it finds it. So that's a new widget. But yeah, so that's just the basics of Jelly Bean. So let's talk about some of the other things. Okay, like the big thing here is the notification pull down, right? So this is totally different. And on your phone, when you pull that notification down, it takes up the whole screen. With this new tablet UI, they've gone away from that. So you can see it just takes up part of it. It gives you the time up top, tells you, you can toggle your auto rotation up there, you can get into settings. You can see it like wipes out the actual notification bar. So if we scroll that back up, you can see there's talks about my connectivity when I swipe this down. See how that goes away? So that's a little bit different. The other thing I want to show you is notifications. So if I go ahead and take a screenshot here, take a screenshot, that goes up into my notification bar. So if I pull this down, new notifications, right? So they're adjustable. So you can see it's actually giving me a preview of that screenshot I just took. But if I don't want that to be so big, I can grab 2 fingers and actually slide that up or down, so it's expandable. And if you get Gmail messages, they do that. Google Plus, someone tags you in a photo, it shows up as extended. You can shrink them down. So it does that for a lot, and I think there's APIs out there already, so you can start making your notifications better and bigger and more beautiful. The other cool thing is I just took that screenshot, and there's a share button right there. So if you get a call or miss a call, in Jelly Bean, there's quick buttons there to text them or call them back, things like that. They've just made the notification a much more robust experience. And then if you want to get rid of stuff, you can swipe it away if you'd like. There's also this button up here. It used to be an X that could clear them all. Now it's like a staggered button. Basically, you tap that and it erases all of your notifications. So you've got that going on. The other thing then is Google Now. And since I don't have my account actually signed in, this isn't going to do all that much. So we'll probably talk about this more. Although we've talked about it a little bit and told you how awesome it is. But to access it, you just start at the home button and swipe up and it gives you Google Now. If you're not familiar with Google Now, get familiar with it because it's going to change everything. I mean, this thing is beyond impressive. You do get the new voice search. So I can search now. And it actually, you know, said I can search now. So it actually came up with something there. I could do, what's the Brave score from last night? And it should, oh, average score. How about, did the Red Sox win last night?
Yes, the Red Sox beat the Mariners 2-1.
And they did win. So it shows you that, and you know, it starts customizing all that. So Google Now, we've talked about it a couple times already. That's awesome. That's a Jelly Bean feature so far. If we go into, let me just go into settings. We can just look to see if anything's different in here. If we go into more, you'll see it does have NFC and beam. You've also got sound display. Not a lot of this stuff has changed from what we can tell. They did change this in Jelly Bean though, this accounts thing. Rather than accounts and sync being an extra screen you go to, it just adds them here. And as you start adding accounts, it actually lists them right there. If we go into about, you can see Nexus 7, Android 4.1. If you go into developer options, this is different in Jelly Bean. You actually have to turn developer options on. And then you can do USB debugging and all of that stuff. So that's a little bit of a different change there. Screenshots again are still volume down and power if you missed me do that. Battery life, I still don't know if we know exactly what the battery size is in this. Yesterday I used the device quite a bit and got down to about 40%. So the battery life seems to be okay. I mean, I think, you know, if you're using it hard for about a full day, you're probably gonna need to charge it. If you're using it off and on for a couple days, it might last for 2 or 3 days. So see if there's anything else going on here. Oh, you know, we outed this first. This was the Easter egg that they've tucked in there. And then if you long press on that, you get all these jelly beans you can swipe around. So that's always kind of fun. Other than that though, let's go look at the lock screen real quick. Not sure we saw this. So the lock screen's changed. With this, since there's no back camera, there's no camera shortcut, but you can unlock it going up, down, or I'm sorry, left or right or down, it'll unlock. Or you can get straight into Google Now just by going up there. So they've changed that. The keyboard's also changed a little bit. I'm actually not a fan of it. They added an extra shift button where the return button used to be. So when you're typing fast and you are used to the stock Android keyboard, you keep hitting the shift button rather than the return. And I don't know, I've had some issues with it. It types okay. I just sort of suck with it. To me, it seems like it misses letters at times too. Look, I can't even type droid. This droid is awesome. Yeah, I don't know, it sucks. It's not predicting. But anyway, the keyboard's okay. It'll take you some getting used to. With a 7-inch device though, double thumb typing is actually really easy to do. So I thought I'd show you that real quick. Otherwise, you know, the device performance, it's Tegra 3 inside, so it's crazy fast. Has a gig of RAM. It's been sort of a pleasure to play with. Watching movies on it and stuff is fun since it's, you know, that 7-inch screen. Playing games so far has been awesome. It almost feels like, we talked to NVIDIA about this actually, and they said, you know, it feels like you're holding a gaming controller. And it kind of does feel like that, you know, with a big 10-inch screen, or a big 10-inch tablet, you're holding it like this. This thing, you know, it's just so closer together. You can get to controls easier, you can touch things on the screen easier. It just seems like almost more of a gaming device than even a 10-inch screen. And that, you know, obviously that's my opinion, but it just feels really good as a device. So, you know, we'll have a full review of this coming up soon. We definitely want to give it some real love and not do one of those overnight reviews like have already been posted. So anyways, we're Droid Life. Stick with us on this Nexus 7. We'll definitely have the review up this week. I know you guys are dying to just get all the information about this. It's $199 for the 8 gig model. It's $249 for the 16 gig model. I will say that as much as Google wants you to do a lot of stuff in the cloud, 8 gig is probably not going to be a lot of storage, and it's probably not going to be enough for most of you. So what Google gave us with this was like Transformers and some magazines and stuff. And Tim and I actually downloaded Transformers on here, and you know, an HD movie takes up like 2.5 gig. And when you look in the software, let me go back to the storage. So I just wiped this thing, and available I have 5.74 gig. Okay, and I've got nothing else on it. This is completely wiped. I just booted it for the first time. And out of 8 gig, I get, you know, 5.75. So if you throw in 2.5 gig movie, download some music to it, maybe a couple of magazines, and then a couple of big games like Shadowgun, you're gonna take up all of that space before you know it. So without an external storage, no SD card slot or anything, you really might wanna consider spending that extra 50 bucks to get the 16 gig version, just so you get that extra amount of storage. I mean, $199, don't get me wrong, it's a great price point, and if you don't download a bunch of big, heavy content like that all the time, it could be okay. But if you're someone that travels, you know, and you're constantly downloading like 5 or 6 TV shows to have them stored on there, you might run out of storage pretty fast. So anyway, that's just a brief overview of the Nexus 7. Again, full review coming, and we're gonna do a full review of Jelly Bean too, because there's some stuff in there we definitely want to show you that's just been blowing our mind lately, especially with Google Now. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about is you do actually have pin connectors down here. So there's gonna be some sort of form of a dock that uses those pin connectors. Since Google's selling this directly and not a carrier, you should actually be able to get that through the Play Store eventually. So anyway, stick back to us or come back with us for more. Nexus 7 is gonna be here all week. We're Droid Life. Peace.